get through cob quick enough for you yesterday.
Yes, you did.
Trying to move that along. Trying to get Blade to.
Welcome to the Morgan City Redevelopment Agency meeting, October 25th, 2022. And we're supposed to be 6:30, but we'll go 6:45.
It works.
Like to welcome the board members here. And then is Jeff on Zoom?
No.
Okay.
Jeff's on here.
So we'll excuse Jeff Wardell. So let's begin. Is there a mayor? Okay.
I will make a motion that we approve of this big agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this meeting's agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Denise, that's unanimous. And our active agenda. Under item 2A, purchase agreement between the Morgan City Redevelopment Agency and Doug Buys Utah Homes LLC. Resolution R 2243. Everybody had a chance to look at that?
I think we'd maybe make reference to the last couple of meetings too, Steve, where it was discussed and talked about.
Okay,
If I don't know that we need to redo all of that, but if someone listening or looking at the video wonders why there's such little discussion, it's because a lot of it's been vetted at this point.
that's something we pretty much do every time we meet.
Yeah, it's not a bad
That's
thought
good.
to make a reference to it.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Oh, thank you.
Turn green. Yeah,
All of a sudden you're red.
we better have us recorded anyway.
Nobody's listening, right?
So is this,
Well, yes, we. do
But
have-
I just,
to your point, Dave, do we need to just briefly explain?
yeah, I think so. There ought to be a brief explanation. Steve, is that something you want to do?
I can
Tell us what you know.
tell us what I know.
Okay.
So as we discussed at last council meeting, an opportunity to buy some shares from a ditch company,
Five
shares.
shares.
And I'll just read that. Resolution R 2240-43 is a resolution adopting and approving a purchase agreement between the Morgan City Redevelopment Agency and Doug Buys Utah Homes LLC to purchase 5 shares in the North Morgan Irrigation Company, also known as Big Ditch. Now, is there any?
Well, the reason for it, or what sort of precipitated this, was the fact that we realized that some of the property in the redevelopment zone does not have access to any shares of water. McDonald's was a good example of that. And so we just felt it would be a good idea to have these shares of water. If somebody wants to develop in the RDA zone, that we now have some water shares to offer them without them having to try and search around and find a half a share of water or a share of water. So that's the reason for it.
Good summary. In my mind, I think there's a little bit of unfinished business, and I don't know if that's a matter for now or later, but that is, how do we dispose of the shares so that it's equitable for anybody coming along and that either wants to buy them or I don't know if there's any There's our answer right there.
I
I
don't,
think I can answer that.
I don't think we can sell them, can we?
We sort of, it's a lease, is that the word? The shares that are being purchased here,
Yeah, we would buy them.
but then
Then if somebody
uses a half a
comes
share.
and says, I need a share of water, we apply it to the property. So on secondary, we have the certificate. We say we've got 5 shares, would like to use a half of the share of the certificate on this property. We give it to secondary water, but we retain ownership the whole time.
The city retains
This-
ownership. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But is there a price for that? I mean, it's costing us money.
We
right now.
we can, so that would be a secondary conversation. Right now, we're saying,
Okay.
let's purchase it. But what we do with those would be another RDA meeting when you say,
And
this
that
is the
was my point.
parameters that we want to put on.
That was my point.
question. We don't have to know that now,
Okay.
right? You can
Yeah.
say, it's only this type of development, it's only, it's at this price, or we'll do a grant scenario where we say as part of your grant, it includes water, whatever parameters. you
But it
wanna-
has to stay in the name of Morgan
Yeah.
City.
Yep, those water shares will forever,
Right, okay.
Doesn't go outside the city limits. So we can't help somebody else out on that, but
well, and what he's saying is, we're not allowed to sell water or water
Divest of it,
shares.
yeah.
I think it's probably smart that we talk about that disposition as sooner rather than later, just so we don't get to a point where somebody needs it and then we don't know what those parameters are.
One parameter would be they'd have to be in the RDA.
Right.
Right, so that's a parameter.
That's kind of a
The
given.
the other thing is the intent of the purchasing this was to facilitate commercial development. So there's 2 real basic, high level, and then
Go from there.
go from there. And then, how or how much or process, I mean, and we can charge, it's no,
We could lease it for that matter, correct? So
Yeah. well, we don't even lease it. We charge them and then we apply the water share,
Okay,
right? So we don't sell it, but we can say for a half a share, it's gonna be X amount of dollars. Right?
then
You
it
didn't come
covers
up
their
with that
half a
number.
share, even though
And every year you can adjust it, or you can make it part of a grant program, or,
I kind of agree with Dave. I think we need to have those parameters before we have an applicant. Let's not.
Let's not kick the can down the road and be
Yeah.
wishing that we would have done this.
one thing to recognize is they can't go below half a share. So regardless of the size of the development, it's a half a share per project minimum,
Okay.
right? So we have a minimum of 10 projects, or minimum of at least 10 projects. Or no, a maximum of 10 projects.
Maximum amount.
so if somebody needed more, that's still fine.
That's something that's,
I think it's important that whatever the distribution or is, that it's done equitably, and to just, in my mind, part of that equitable way of handling it would be to have some consideration, i.e., some dollars paid back for it.
Yeah.
So that over the history of the RDA, we've got 5 people here that benefited from it and nobody else did. Well, they benefited, but they also paid for it too.
so, a completed project could also be a parameter. So you can't just come in and have us transfer something and you didn't finish, right? Or say, I'd like to get these water shares so I can turn around and make a development happen.
So you would hold them shares until that is complete.
till an occupancy
Makes
permit
sense.
or something's issued.
They don't get a building permit till the water's in place, but maybe we tie it to the grant. So it's only for grant,
Inside the grant.
or commercial developments. It's, and then the price, you could just simply say, we're just gonna base it off of what we paid.
To your point, Dave, I guess you could say a half a share of water is
4,000.
whatever.
But again, that'd be, in my mind, money that comes back into the RDA that can benefit others. And hence, we don't have just a select group that are benefiting and no one else does on either the front or the back
Yeah.
end. But again, discussion for another day.
Yeah, we're just saying commercial. So in my mind, you're not gonna have a bunch of people run through the door with commercial developments in the RDA.
Right.
We've had 4, but they were existing buildings. The only new build is the hotel.
Is McDonald's RDA?
Yep, they would be eligible. The 2 properties in front of the hotel would be eligible. But if you say for commercial only, because there's other residential properties within the RDA. And I would say we're trying to facilitate commercial.
Yeah, kind of the
We
purpose.
could put
And so
in there,
that
couldn't we?
list is pretty, it's not gonna,
It's not real big, is it?
right.
We could,
Say It's just for commercial.
inside the RDA.
So
Well, put together on your part, Ty, you probably have a better overall picture of it. Maybe there's a couple of alternatives that could work and make a presentation down the road.
So that would just be let's put the parameters on it at the next meeting and let's.
Perfect.
Tony's
the
ready
water
to.
first.
Are you ready?
I am. Okay.
Mayor, I am prepared to make a motion to approve the purchase agreement between the Morgan City Redevelopment Agency and Doug Buys Utah LLC. Resolution 2243. Resolution adopting and approving a purchase agreement between the Morgan City Redevelopment Agency and Doug Buys Utah Home LLC to purchase 5 shares in the North Morgan Irrigation Company, also known as the Big Ditch.
Here we have a motion,
I'll second.
second. Any more discussion?
If there's a big ditch, is there a little ditch?
I don't know. Let's see.
Do we need to mention the
Dollar
price in the motion?
I was wondering that question.
Let's mention
So let me add to my motion.
it. An amendment to
To
the
the
motion.
For the purchase price of $8,000 per share for a total price of $40,000. That would be my
That's
amendment.
In a second.
That probably needs a
Have
second.
a second on the amended motion. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Denise, that was unanimous.
Where? is-
Did we need to vote on the amendment and then vote on the motion?
No.
No, okay, all right.
Does it need to be a roll call since you're spending money?
That'd be better.
Okay,
So,
Eric?
do a roll call, please.
Dave,
Aye.
Jeffrey,
Aye.
Tony? It's unanimous. Thank you.
That's a good deal.
Are you adjourn the meeting here? Okay.
You're in the meeting, sorry.
Okay.